right now we are taking on a couple, not a couple in that sense, but a couple of people. And it's just to celebrate this same season with us. We have Ajayi-Lycett with us, who is a veteran on theater and on the tube in Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us for this beautiful time, as well as AOY, the comedian. I don't know if you will be able to see his eyes well, but right now.
Should I doff it? Take it off?
Whichever way works.
Or turn it around. Mommy, you know about swag.
Don't I look swag enough?
Don't judge a book by its cover, bro.
I just got that.
So, let's begin with you, madam. Is there any comparison between the way Christmas was done back in time and the way it's been done these years?
Well, except the major comparison is the fact that Christmas has gone very commercial. There's very little religion in it. Not that it was based on religion in the first place, but that's another discussion for another day. But it is intensely commercial. It's all about what you say. It's about the goods. It's about all these bongs and all that. So I'm not sure how much of it really affects those of faith, shall I say. But so Christmas is a joyous occasion. I approve of it because it's one time in the year, at least one of the periods in the year where people actually essentially stop thinking about themselves alone, but think about other people, think about family. Anything that focuses on family, I approve of that. Anything that focuses on camaraderie and happiness and friendship, and exchanging of goodwill and gifts and things like that in the midst of the kind of turbulent world we live in. Oh, it's wonderful for me. Never mind the reason for it or the concept of it right now.
Okay.
The concept of it right now is not terribly edifying.
I'd just like to know, what would be your ideal Christmas? Because it appears as though you say what we have now is not what it should be. So for you, what is that picture-perfect Christmas?
Where I think it's the eastern part of our world is when they do it. Everybody goes home to get in touch with their roots and see people they haven't seen for a year or so and bring back all their winnings or whatever it is back home. I like that. That's the spirit I want of connection. Of being rooted to your past, to your people and everything. I enjoy it when there's so many people are on the way. It's an exodus out of urban centers, back into their roots, back into where they get emotional sustenance. Never mind the physical toll on their body, on their bodies. But that is important to me.
Absolutely.
Making connection with the people you love.
Yeah.
And the roots.
I think if I have to, I
was going to ask you what, to...
take a quick side with Mommy on that. I think the people from the eastern part of Nigeria, they are still embarking in that culture, of going back home. We're coming. You needed to see the traffic. Everybody is just heading one direction. They're going back to the east. I think they're still doing that. And Mommy said it has gone commercial. I'm going to relate with it to a large extent in the sense that even these days, we don't even know our neighbors, not to talk of celebrating Christmas with them. We don't even know. Sometimes I go for an event as a compere, and I see somebody saying to me, "I'm your neighbor," and I'm just wondering how. And but all the same, it doesn't take away the fact that there's a major celebration that happens yearly, and Christmas, and we also know that Jesus is the reason for the season. For those of us who believe in that, and. It's Christmas, so we're here. So Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. So tell us about your Christmas while you are very young.
Yeah, back then in Warri, we we usually look forward to, because we go from one, home to another. And then when we go, it's usually, for us as children, it was more like a carnival experience. When we go, we get money, we get enough food, and sometimes when we get tired of the food, they even know, when the minute they see us, they know that we don't know the food, because there's enough rice and stew everywhere. I mean, I didn't know about jollof rice back then. It was your normal rice and stew, and then we eat that food as a unit. Not like you are entitled to your own plate. And then when you're leaving, we come up with the language, brother, we don't go. And then when we give you that signal, you know what to do.
What are you supposed to do?
How you're supposed to make the Christmas merry.
Was it not merry before then?
No, merry.
Merry in numbers.
Right.
So back then it was fun, but we're not experiencing all of that in this present time. This is a Christmas where I have a little girl as my daughter who wants to go and see, witness snow abroad, wants to go out. I mean, like Mommy said, nobody wants to really, apart from those from the East, none of us really want to just look forward to going back home. It used to be fun in that, small beetle that my dad used to take all of us, and then we're happy. As a family, then we'll spend the New Year and come back to the city, and then it's fun. You get to meet your relatives. That's how you connect. That's how you know your siblings. You know people around you. But it's not like that anymore.
I'm just wondering, so how did we get here? Whatever happened?
We got civilized. It's a very difficult and depressing thought to feel that you have to get on in the world, in this geopolitical world, by dishonoring yourself. It's because that's in effect what it is. If we don't know one another and don't want to connect with our own past, and we're embracing things outside of ourselves, when you go to an event, instead of people being in the now, they're taking selfies. I go on tour with people all over the world, and there are many things to see which would benefit you in your life when you're reflecting, but you're too busy with technology, which I'm not knocking, but I think we have to be very sensible about how we use technology.
Striking the balance.
Yeah. So you're too busy taking selfie rather than seeing the
world.
It's very troubling, quite frankly. So, and this is supposed to be very progressive and civilized and glamorous. Our mothers in particular are so obsessed with this glamour thing of how the Kardashians do it. So you look at your Instagram, they're all busy being Kardashians with big bum-bums, which we gave to the world. Suddenly, Kim Kardashian has made our women conscious that we had a behind before, and that's glamorized. So this business of not wanting to be yourself, I find tragic, and that's why I said the East going home, because they are essentially themselves. They're very proud of being themselves and very proud of home. It's a culture we should imbibe, really.
Let me just ask you to, just to get you to wade into this. You perhaps obviously belong to another generation.
Yeah.
She has, broader view, but then you also have a view.
Well, but I was suspecting Mommy to be my generation when she asked me to put the cap back on.
Right, and then the selfie thing too.
And then the selfie thing.
That's the bit about this civilization. We live in different worlds, disparate worlds, but the worlds can converge. The worlds do converge. Just because I'm an older generation doesn't mean that I don't see what's going on.
You're young at heart.
Yeah, no, it's a traveling, learning, transforming heart, rather. It's nothing young, it's very old. Well, and it is because it's old that you can embrace the new. If you really want to live, you have to embrace the new. So you have to be conscious of what's happening in the new.
And that's where he came in to say striking the balance is important.
Yeah, that's where you have to have the balance.
Yeah, I want to have a mama who understands the swag, who understands what's happening in this present time.
Yeah.
And in striking the balance, we also cannot take away, the direction that civilization is taking us as well. So we need to bring both culture together, have a total blend, but the focal point should always remain the focal point. And in striking the balance, as a Yoruba boy, I know that there's no amount of civilization that wouldn't make me dobale when I see, my mommy here. And I think that's where I think a lot of people are getting it wrong. And then you see on the news a younger boy disrespecting an older person over one thing or the other. But then, like when she stepped in, the first thing I did was take up my hat and I had to greet her, and then she recognized me immediately. It was such an honor. So what am I trying to say? In trying to understand what had happened in the past in terms of the way we celebrate Christmas and the way it's being done now, striking the balance is also very important.
You both are in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
And that's one of the sectors that's very busy at such seasons as this. You, ma'am, back in time, what was it like? What kind of entertainment did people enjoy?
Going to see Ogunde, for instance. I grew up with that. Periods like this, apart from entertaining the extended family. As you can see, I'm so traditionalist and so old-fashioned about connections that you make. Because if you lose your youth, I'm sorry, I tend to lecturing. If you lose your root, you're confused. You don't really know where you are. You're more confident in yourself when you embrace your past and grow up in the way that AY was saying, of going around, everybody in the street would know them because they raised them.
So you went to see Ogunde?
We went to see Ogunde.
That was stage?
On stage, Glover Memorial Hall. You went to see that. You have entertainment in the street itself. The carnival that you go to Rio to do, we've always been doing this forever.
Sure.
It's not new, but we make it look as if you had to go to Rio and Jamaica or wherever to see carnival. And when they're doing it here, they mirror them over there, right? Have you seen carnival? It's not Nigeria, it could be anywhere. Well, we did all that here when we were growing up. And I saw a lot of my relations, extended family, they come in, not enough beds for them to sleep. Everybody's sleeping on the floor. I still enjoy that. And I still think with nostalgia about the age that produced me. And I am sorry for the young.
Well, there's a young
Yeah, but anyway, do you have that concern that, who knows, look, if this keeps going on the way it is, young fathers, maybe their children may lose themselves, lose their identity, because not right from the food we eat these days, the way those days, they have so much dream, but our parents are very healthy.
Yeah.
Marriages stayed and lasted for decades, but we know what's happening today. Are young parents having it difficult to strike the balance and let their children stay?
Yeah, parenting, if we take it from that angle, I think it depends on the individual. It depends on your grandstanding. As the head of the family, it depends on your own upbringing. It's what you have that you can impact, that you can give. If you don't have it, you can't give it. Like, for example, I have a family, I have a daughter, and then she understands the science. I don't necessarily have to. I'm usually very pleased when they say, oh, your daughter is well behaved. It's just as a result of what she's getting, what she's seeing around the parents. So the modern time and nature cannot just change so many things. There are people who come from a certain school of thought, certain background. You can't, the people around you, the kids around you, they see it and they connect with it, they understand it. But we also can't take away civilization, whereby, where we so much believe in the fact that when you spare the rod, you spoil the child. I know that, but then somebody's going to remind you that no, or maybe they are going to come with that urban culture of she's going to call 911 and stuff like that. But we are Africans, and we still try to strike that balance. And there's an understanding. mean, the family connects with it. The wife understands it. The daughter, the son, or the children around, they understand it. But it's 50-50 now because of civilization. But above all, we just find a way to strike that balance.
Yeah.
You know, you belong to an industry, the entertainment industry, and obviously whatever you do influences millions of people. You set the tone politically, socially, economically. You can literally sell a message to the whole nation just by a movie or a song, in this case, you know, movies and comedy. So what we have now in the entertainment industry, do you think you are doing enough to, as it were, help us remember who we are?
Yeah, that's where, you know, people
Other than making good money.
that's why people like Mommy would always remind people like us, tell our own story. Because I think the problem that some of us are having is finding difficulties in telling our own story. We want to do what the other people are doing, all for entertainment purposes. And yes, we are trying. We're not there yet. We're trying. It's not something that's we're going to just say we can do overnight, because you also want to strike the balance. He talked about money. And then when you know that something is paying off, you tend to go in that direction. And not neglecting all the morals that you need to put out there, or the message that you need to put out there. I will relate that with the movies that I do, for example. I usually want to strike a balance of, you know, blending what is happening now in terms of civilization, and also giving that moral values that will make you remember where you're from and who you are.
Well, there's a culture that we have. Most times, you know, it's all about you go to church on Christmas Day.
You start the day with that.
No. You go on Christmas Eve.
Okay, speaking about church, we have to go to church. We've got our correspondent, Victoria Ido. She's at the Resurrection Catholic Church in Magodo, to give us a feel of what's the mood, what are people doing, what will they do after church. How is it playing out there, Victoria?
Thank you, Chamberlain. Now, as you know, today, December 25th, Christian faithfuls all over the world celebrate the birth of Jesus. And that's why we're here at the Catholic Church of the Resurrection in the Magodo area of Lagos State. And Christian faithfuls are coming in one after the other to go for the Mass. Now, the 6:30 Mass just ended a few minutes ago, and a few people are coming in for the 8 a.m. Mass. And with me is Reverend Father Paul Bastos. He's going to be telling us his message for the day. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
What is your message for Nigerians on a day like this?
On a day like this, Christmas is a day of love, God's love to the world. And if we love one another, accommodate each other, just like Jesus Christ, the world will be a better place. The world will be a good place. And that peace that all of us desire will surely be what God himself will give to us through one another. Christmas is a gift of God, and as such, we should be a gift to each and every one of ourselves.
Christmas is about showing love to people. It's about, caring for people. How else do you think Christians can actually show love to people?
Well, love is not just for Christians, it's for everyone. But more importantly for us Christians, because we celebrate Christmas. Christmas gradually is losing its original meaning, God coming into the world. But we are more of a celebration than the meaning of Christmas, which is love. If all of us as human person, we love one another, the world will be a better place. The world will be a good place, a place to always be, because I love you, you love me, and there will be no iota of hatred in ourselves. There will be that easy forgiveness because there is love in us.
Thank you very much, sir. We have Mr. Tony here to speak to us on your live, so we're waiting for you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's good to have you, Mr.
Yes, thank you very much.
Now, tell me, it's Christmas.
Yes.
And you've had your first service for your first mass for today. What's your plan for the rest of the day?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, let me say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas
To you,
to
to
you too.
China's crew, and to everyone. Yeah, for me, Christmas, we all know that Jesus came at birth, and that was the first coming, and he's going to have a second coming. That will be at the end of time. So for me, every Christmas is Jesus' third coming. So today we experience his third coming in our hearts, and we should celebrate that by showing love, by sharing peace, by sharing what we have, particularly with the less privileged, those ones that cannot pay us back. Jesus tells us in the scriptures that we should, each time we do celebrations and organize parties, we should invite those that cannot pay us back. Not just our friends, because our friends will invite us in return, but we should look out for the less privileged and the needy in the society. So for me, Christmas is about sharing, it's about love, it's about peace. Above all, we pray for peace in Nigeria. We pray for God to come to our aid and establish his peace in our hearts.
Thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
All right, so that's back to you in the studio. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Victoria. Merry Christmas to you too. Wow, what a scene. That really is nice. And, you know, it's a time that we're supposed to take a step back from work. I know what work, but, you know, spend time with family and still not lose our essence. And you were speaking about those movies and ensuring that we don't lose that narrative. But are we succeeding generally? I mean, yes, you're doing your bit, but looking at the broader picture, is that also getting into all the messages?
Oh, yes. Talking about, right now, if we want to talk about our own industry, Nollywood, I say we're doing quite well. Everybody, we're now beginning to understand that there's been a gap, and there's also a need to take it to another level. And that's what's been happening, you know, in Nollywood at this time. We've had a couple of movie producers who come out with quality works that are being recognized even outside the shores of Nigeria. Not too long, I had this big Chinese company come over to Nigeria to, you know, do a sign-off with us, have a collaborative effort in putting the production together. And we also just came back from a movie premiere, our own premiere, that we had to take as an export material to the US, the Merryman 2 premiere, which is currently in cinemas nationwide. And we had top actors from Hollywood who were also part of the premiere. Now, the gap has been there a long, long time. Then there's this marriage. They are beginning to understand that there's a need to, you know, pay some attention to Africa and help us to take it to the expected level where we want to be. So I would say, yes, we're making progress, and thanks to the fundamental structure that was being put in place, you know, by Mommy and the likes of others in the industry, you know, doing all the nudging and prodding to just make us understand it and get to the expected destination. More importantly, we will continue to do our best, and you know, a day will come. We'll come up with all the necessary awards on the international levels.
The outstanding things about Christmas, the carols, right? When you remember, you know, the way your own growing up days, the carols that you had to sing. You know, I was trying to make reference the other time. There's always that Christmas Eve service, right? What are those things that stood out for you that you probably miss these days?
Well, you don't go out nowadays, do you, at night? Security. You're challenged by that for a start. But in spite of that, we have churches all over the place. How many children, I wonder how many children are put through the rigors of training, which was fun, that we had. When you go to churches now, there's so much dancing going on, as against really the discipline of singing and knowing the lyrics. I still sing some hymns that bring tears to my eyes because they take me straight back to when I was studying Methodist Girls High School or Mount Carmel. I wonder, do children have that now? And I don't want to speak out of turn. I am not sure they do. Because when I see churches going, everybody is gone so catatonic. Now, do they understand the lyrics? Is it the lyrics that we're listening to which enables us to enjoy the music, for the music to get into our soul? Or is it this moving around, this...
Mom, it's a combination of both now.
No,
a combination of both.
You ask them to let you know what lyrics mean. There is a song that still haunts me. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel. Now, that song means so much to me. That I am abandoned here in the world. That when are you going to come and rescue me? I was a child. It still stays with me till today. You know the lyrics. The lyrics speak to you. How much of that is going on in churches now? Apart from Bese.
But we can also Bese to celebrate God, Mommy.
Yeah, people tell me that David had took the ark.
I was going there.
I was dancing. I knew you'd get there. I knew you'd get there. But you know, David was concentrating on the ark. On the ark. And he was showing respect. Is that what we're showing in churches now? And when we're singing? All the songs that David wrote, they were coming from the bottom of his heart, so to speak, expressing remorse, joy,
but
gratitude.
There's a part that says, when the Spirit of God is upon my life, I will dance like David danced.
You have the video of David dancing. Just ask.
Please, don't put me on the spot.
I would
dance.
But you know, well, for you, AY, she has given us one of those songs that she will never forget. Do you have any such? Especially it's Carol.
Well, not necessarily with Carol. I grew up in Warri. There's some native traditional songs that,
such as?
There are quite a number. I can go on and on, but they're something I can relate with, because way back we remember we used to, hey, happy Christmas, hey, happy Christmas. These are just, sounds funny, but then it was very, very traditional. People connect with it, and then you can see, you run into an RMD today, is going to remember most of all these songs. You've run into an Alibaba today, but I think right now, that's what Mommy is saying, it's no longer there as, it's no longer there in the sense that it's not something a lot of these people, the people from this generation, can relate with. So, but they have also created theirs. I mean, this festive period, you see the number of concerts that you have going on in Nigeria from one artist to another. Every
movies as well.
Yeah.
What's with Merriment?
Merriment too. I was going to go there. Thank God you. See, this is, Mommy, look at it. Merriment too is my movie.
But if you put a T there, it's different. If you put a T at the end of it, it's
Merriment.
Merriment. Yeah, it's part of the merriment for the season. Okay. I mean, the more the merrier. So, Merriment 2 is a sequel to Merriment 1. Is an action comedy pack put together, and the first one was very successful, at the box office. And for me, when the music is good, you play it twice. So I decided to
what's the message? What's the message?
Oh yeah, it has a message of love. Serious.
Just as the season.
Yeah, serious message of love. That's the more reason people need to go to the cinemas to see Merriment 2. Is in the cinemas nationwide, and presently, as we speak, from the opening weekend, it has turned out to be #1.
Well, you know, one thing that, you know, Mommy said something the other time about, you know, back in time it was stage. You do that during your shows.
Yeah.
You do stage.
I'm a theater artist.
Okay.
I majored in directed.
Now, but one of the things that we seem to be losing these days is messages in the box office, on stage, and in music, just as you referenced. So back to what Kayode said the other time, how can we push this forward? I know that you use your
Yeah, I
stage
do that as a,
one moment.
Okay, good.
I know that you used your stage sometimes to preach that message of getting the message across to the people who come to the events and all of that. But how do we take that message further? So that, because ultimately it's about Nigeria, right? It's about a better society. And once the family is good, the society is better. And of course, it reverberates all over the nation. So how do we take that? Because whether we like it or not, entertainment is a major force in Nigeria.
It is. And I think technology is already doing that for us right now. Like if you come to AY Live, most of those things that we do on stage, you know, it's being uploaded. They are on YouTube, you know, put them on DVDs and whatever. People get to see it. And that's what has attracted some of the people who even come to want to associate with the brand in trying to take it to another level. You know, as a comedian, I see myself as a social commentator. So most of the things that I do on stage, some people find it detrimental, but then we're passing the message. You know, sometimes I tell you the best way to pass a message to the man who's highly egocentric is when you make him laugh. In between, you just put the message, he gets it. And then when, he probably may just be driving home, when they now realize, wait, that AY boy, was he trying to? But then he just laughed about it. So we laugh about ourselves. We're still growing, and we're doing our best. Like I said, the social media space is also helping. Right now, you wake up in the morning, there's one entertainment thing going on. There's something that somebody would do that passes a message to another to say, okay, if I try this one, I'm going to be trending negatively or positively. So people just get the message. So it's working. And I think Mommy can educate us more on that.
Okay, she will educate us. But let me prep you ahead. I'm going to be putting you on the spot soon.
Okay.
I mean, it's a Merry Christmas, and people see you as a symbol of comedy, so you're going to make us laugh, which is kind of tricky, but...
I'm going to send you my invoice.
No, definitely. No worries. So we're going to put you on the spot, but let's allow
Mommy,
her
they
to
always
educate
say that to me. Now, I always ask in return, if I were to be Anthony Joshua, and you're interviewing me, say, oh, Anthony, it's nice to have you here. You always box for a living. Can you just come and box me right now?
How would you feel if you asked me to do that?
No, I should be the one doing it.
But you're not Anthony Joshua. But we'll get to that. But I'd like you to educate us about the industry right now. We have talked about how much of a conscious message, you know, the entertainment industry, from music to movies, actually churn out these days. What's your assessment?
Well, I think he already got a measure of my assessment. I don't think we're making we're aware that we're not making a conscious effort to project our culture. We're projecting. And yes, we thank God we started doing that, and we may reach there, but it's not rocket science to project yourself, to know yourself and project yourself. But I suspect it's because we've lost our idea of what we are, so that we're a conglomeration of cultures, and we therefore just appropriate a sort of neutral culture, which is foreign, which is what we're projecting. I'm worried about your children and their children, about what Nigeria really is, because what we're seeing on the social media and Instagram and whatever, and looking at your girl there, we're making ourselves easier on the eye for foreigners. I don't know whether you understand what, sorry, forgive me, rather than who we are. Because is this a measure of self-loathing that we cannot show really who we are? Show our own beads, our own hair, our own gele, our own... It's easier for me to appropriate this. We were raised like that, but I can transform. And when I transform, when I'm able to transform, it's lovely, isn't it?
Which is striking that balance.
You have to. But you cannot strike that balance unless you know who you are in the first place. But if you're trying to forget who you are and then appropriate another persona, you ain't going to strike the balance. That's my fear. Because you already think that that's bush. I used to remember years ago when I first got to England and I had my hair done and everything, at a time when to go to England was so novel, right? Nigerians used to get up from beside me because I looked too bush. It's fascinating that it's because I look to my own people bush, but because I look authentic, I succeeded. People wonder, how did I succeed over there when you still had racism or whatever? Right. It never touched me. Why? Because I remained authentic. And the world accepted that. All this that we're doing, thinking that is so glamorous, and that's what the other world prefers. That's how they will respect us. They will know we're civilized. It's inimical, really, to the projection, to the positive projection of our culture.
So that's our own civilization, our personal civilization.
We have sold that out in order to appropriate this new civilization.
Mom is also saying you're supposed to be wearing agbada on this show.
Yeah.
Right now.
No, we do on Saturdays.
You know, you should see us on Saturdays
why do
and
we
Sundays.
why do we do that? Yeah, let's challenge ourselves. Why do we do that just on Saturday?
That's the days that, well, they design certain things certain ways. Just like we eat rice today, it beans tomorrow.
Now, from this place, we're now going to be interviewing you people now.
After you give us that nice, beautiful punchline, give us that nice signature tea.
You look at a Chinese, whatever it is, the woman's going to be dressing with that high neck, and some of the men, right? That's not to say that they don't wear suits, but they do. Or Indian
authenticity.
broadcast.
I mean, our identity should not be lost in whatever we do.
Authenticity is important in what we do, and that's what I think is still lacking in our show business.
Projecting our own culture.
Projecting our culture, and the world is ready to embrace it. That's the whole point.
Because it's so rich.
Because it's rich.
Because you see the white people, when they come here, sometimes it's not, when you take them out, it's that bead, that small.
They want to go see.
Yeah, that's what they want to see. That's what
Because
that's
that's who you
artwork
are.
that is.
Perhaps that's what gave Black Panther the success.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is, so when we talk about economic recession, economic whatever it is, under development, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. Because if we did all these things, instead of embracing, look at how, sorry, I'm not digressing, but look at how much we're spending on wigs for our women.
Ooh,
Mommy, you should
We'll drink some water. I think you also
have that water.
At least you do whatever it's doing. This, I do, but
Whereas, if we start doing all African hairdos and everything,
go all natural.
yeah, the highest paid model, international model, is as black as that thing. Right now, Europeans are fed up with this half hybrid that we're projecting as our culture. The highest paid model. She's chiseled, she's beautiful, she's totally African, she's as black as
black is
night.
beautiful.
I wonder if
And
husbands
black
can
is
tell this to their wives.
Wait,
a good message.
I would join.
You stammering. Say what thinking.
I would join because it will save us money.
Save
the men money.
It save the country money. No, this is not a joke. It'll save the country money. It'll project something else to the world. It will project that we don't self-loathe ourselves. It's project that we can be equally attractive with our own
The sellers
hair.
will be thinking of changing the channel now.
Yeah.
And it will save relationships too, I guess.
Yes, you will.
Simplicity and you know that authenticity as well, and that's why entertainment is always a huge focus.
But we're still going to stick to that, striking the balance.
No,
We're still going to stick to it because in as much as we have all of this, we also need to grab some of theirs and export some of ours to them as well. So there's a balance.
How many of yours have they grabbed?
Oh, they are grabbing it right now, Mommy. They're beginning to come.
What? They turn it into money.
Oh, yeah, they do.
I'm saying you turn yours into money.
Oh, okay.
Don't let them turn it into money and then come and send it back to you.
Well, that's the point.
That's the point I'm making.
Solid. Okay.
So give you a pen so you
Don't let AY get away with that.
Cracking at you.
No bill.
No, see, what I'm going to do now, because it's Christmas, I'm going to be in the mood of prophecy. I'm just going to prophesy to each and every one of us.
She's laughing already.
Yeah, I'll be in the mood of prophecy. You know, maybe because mommy has blessed us on this set. You know, I've gained more than enough education, so it's time for me to bless you back, Mommy. You know, just spread your hand like that. Yes, because I'm about to prophesy right now. Should I go ahead and prophesy?
Please.
You have the floor.
Mommy, admiration took you across illusion, and the good Lord became your portion.
Amen.
When you made your decision, you were given an admission.
Amen.
After your matriculation, there was an examination.
Amen.
Today, you are being blessed with a graduation that is leading to your convocation. Forget all actions, coming through reactions, giving you tension and temptation. Just be in progression. Just in proportion to your promotion. Flee every evil communication, get a good conception. Continue to be a ministrant in this administration. With this collaboration, you get a distinction, not in subtraction, but in addition. So congregation, this is a session to be on motion with a mission to function. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
Hope there'll be no ascension today. At the end of the day.
Or a promotion.
How do we can't say breaktion, right?
We have a break.
All right, indeed. What a day. What a session. Thank you very much, ma'am. And AY,
Thank you.
good to have you both this morning.
Thank you. Mommy, actually, it's an honor. Such an
Lovely.
honor.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
My namesake.
Ayo. Thank you for having me.
AYs.com.
AY Square.
All the best with Mary.
All right, then.